everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and that is a packet of Haribos. Today we have something, as you could probably tell by the title of the video, it is going to be a bit of a discussion-esque video. Now it is something that's been coming up and spreading more and more as the rumours get a wee bit more concrete. There's former players coming out like Chris Boyne saying Naismith is interested in coming back, all that stuff. So I just wanted to talk about it because obviously I've got some strong opinions on it. So if you're not a Rangers fan, I do apologise about this video, but it is going to be 99.9% all about the Rangers. And but I feel like it needs to be, it feels like something that's a good little subject to talk about. And I'm also interested to know what the YouTube verse is, because I've put it out on Twitter. I've got a little bit of a feeling. I know what most of these are feeling about it, and it's kind of disagreeing with me actually, if I'm being honest. But I'm interested to know what you guys are on YouTube. So don't just read the video and like read the title and then just put in your comments. Watch the video, understand my reasonings, and then we'll carry on from there and we'll take it from there. And let's see if I can change your mind. So there's been rumours. Fix my chair. Ow. So there's been rumours about like obviously Resign Naismith, Kyle Lafferty and Stephen Whittaker have all been released from their clubs, which was Norwich City. They got rid of all their dead weight. If you didn't know, dead weight. So they got rid of them, and then ever since then there's been a lot of rumours. But even before they were released, Resign Naismith's been heavily linked with a return to Rangers, fueled by Chrissy Boyd's like punditry. Like a few weeks ago when he was saying Resign Naismith left on bad terms, he wants to come back, he wants to put it right, he's still a Rangers fan, all this stuff. So I understand that, which is nice. But I'm going to read out a little quote, alright? I'm just going to read out a little quote that Resign Naismith said before he left. Okay, so the day he left, he'd done a press conference. Now, this isn't me just reading headlines or anything like that. This is a direct quote. I'm just going to get it right now. / waiting on time for my phone to load. Right, so this is a direct quote. This is a new company called Sevco. It's no good start. I've never met Mr. Green. Probably fair play to you. Or anyone from Sevco. That word again. I don't know who the investors are. I still didn't care, to be honest with you. Or what league they'll be in. You knew exactly what league they'd be in, you wee prick. So how can I push forward into a new company that I don't know anything about or any person involved? He also goes on to say, I can't be bothered reading the full thing, that he never left Rangers because that's the club he grew up leaving. He's leaving a new company that, and then he repeated the word Sevco again. So because of that quote alone, like I've got a strong enough thing in my heart to say, "Come with mate, fuck you." Then he pretend you want to come back and play for Rangers because no cunt else wants you. You've been released from your hefty 50 grand a week contract. Can I just say as well, does anyone really think that Resign Naismith, if he was on 50 grand, that's what the rumour is. Well, that's what's in everywhere. Everyone always says they were on 50 grand a week. That's why he's been released from Norwich for not doing anything. So you look at him and you think, is he really going to take about a 40 grand loss? Because what are we going to be able to pay? Like 10, maybe 20 at max wages, a grand a week, even if we can even afford that. Because I know a few years ago Lee McCulloch was on 8 and everyone was freaking out. I believe Joey Barton signed for like 15 or something like that. So I know we've got a little bit of money, but do you really want to blow all your budget on an injury prone striker who said we didn't exist and who's only scored 23 goals? And there's more tweets coming in. Yes, that is Bane's voice. I've seen someone's tweet comment in the last video saying, is that Bane talking? Yes, it is. He's only scored 23 goals since 2012. Now, I know we've got shite strikers. I know Waghorn, who I absolutely love, can't score, and a brothel. I understand that. And Garner, more interested in tussling with folk. But again, you look at Garner, you look a wee bit deeper into our striking situation, okay? Garner is someone that's always fed on deliveries in the box. He's a goal scorer, he's an aerial threat when we're crossing the ball. But what do? We run it wide, we cut inside, we cut back out, we pass it to our defence, back into the midfield, out wide, back into the defence, back into the midfield. Gardner's like this, because he doesn't care where to fucking go. And then eventually we hit a low-driven cross and it gets cleared. That's 90% of Rangers' football right now. We've never really hit a long ball into the box for him to attack. I don't think ever. Apart from the one time I remember us doing it was against Celtic when he scored in his debut. That was one of the deep crosses we actually hit into the box. But that's fair enough, right? So I'm not going to say Garner and Wycon's the answer, because obviously we need an improvement. So that's fair enough. But you're looking at someone like, I'll continue on with Naismith. He scored 23 goals since 2012. That's 5 years. 23 goals. Ronaldo scored 17 since February the 5th. Okay? Now, obviously, a little bit of slight difference, but you know what I mean, that's just a bit of an exaggeration to show you. And Dele Alli scored more than him, and he's only been playing in the Premier League for a year and a half. So, it's just showing you the amount of goals that he scored. I know he scored a hat-trick against Chelsea, but he's also only scored 20 odd goals in that in 5 years. He's injury prone. I wouldn't take him back, especially for that quote. That is my opinions on Resign Naismith. Moving on to Kyle Lafferty. And Kyle Lafferty's a little bit different because he didn't really dig at the club when he was leaving. So I appreciate him for that. And again, Kyle Lafferty was one of those guys that was really hot and cold for Rangers. Wouldn't score for 3 months. And then when it came to business, or I like to go crunch time, he would just turn into fucking the Brazilian Ronaldo and just start banging in goals. Never forget what he done against Kilmarnock. I always love him for that. He won us a title. But again, I also just want to say fair play to him. Like, he dragged Northern Ireland into the Euros, and he didn't seem to play when they got to Euros, which was really, really strange and unfortunate for him. But he basically got them there in his own. He was one of the top goal scorers, absolutely phenomenal, scoring goals left and right. But you look at his goal scoring record since then for club, okay, not for country, for club. He scored, I believe, let me just double check. I believe it's 21 goals. I'll just double check so I'm not giving you false information. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So he scored 21 goals since 2012, so even less than Naismith. So it's not very clinical. So we're expecting to give him high wages again. And I know they're better than what we've got just now, but you never should never move back to move forward. And I really agree with that. You never ever go back. I'd rather invest maybe 10k max on a Jason Cummins, on a Liam Boyce. Give them the opportunity. Someone who's young, who's hungry, who wants to play in front of 50,000 a week. I see this argument, Rangers anymore, they can't attract the people. Any football player worth a dime will want to play in front of 50k a week people, always. And we've got European football if we finish third. So again, it's not great European football, but it's European football. Anyone worth their salt as a football player would love to play in that. So Liam Boyce, Jason Cummins, all those other players, Lewis Moult, I believe his name is, that plays for Motherwell. A lot of you seem to love him. Would you not rather we sign one of them, or maybe even two of them, for what it would cost in wages to bring these former players who walked away back? Whittaker, I didn't think there's too much to say. Yeah, I really rated Whittaker. I really liked him as a right back for us. Scored a lot of good goals. Remember the goal against Sporting Lisbon in one of the Euro runs. Phenomenal little player in his day. He's past it now. I feel like he is. He did play really well for Norwich. He was one of the ones I was surprised to let go because he did seem to play a lot. He's by far... he's actually scored more goals for Norwich than Kyle Lafferty has. I don't know if that's true, but I just made up. That's false, lads, I think. Probably isn't though. Double check that. Someone in the comments, let me know if that's right. If it is, I meant it. But again, he's been the only one I could kind of understand. But again, is he really better than what we've got? And again, on the wages front, I'd rather we sign like a Callum Patterson or even keep Tav. Tav's a better player. Put Tav at right mid and sign Callum Patterson. I know we've not got money and all this stuff, but you're thinking if we are getting fresh investments, all this other cool stuff, if we're going to be selling some players or letting players go, it's going to free up wages, free up transfer budgets. We can sign all of these young, hungry players who wants to prove their name and maybe move down south. Maybe in 3 or 4 years they're thinking, we'll come, we'll play at Rangers or Celtic, we'll get a move down south. So what? We're good. We didn't want these players that's coming back from down south, who's at their end of their career, who's just kind of going down. We got lucky with Kenny Miller, alright? We got really lucky that he's never dropped, nothing like that. He's brilliant, alright? He's an absolute legend. He's the king. Look what happened with Chris Boyd when we brought him back. We guaranteed he'd have scored goals in Championship. We were saying he was going to score 40 goals in the Championship. Didn't score. He's back scoring in the Premiership. But again, it doesn't always work out when you bring these older players back to the club. And that's just where I feel like... but I'm going to read out some of the tweets now because I did sign up in Twitter about 5 or 10 minutes ago. So I'm not sure how much tweets we'd actually have. So I'll go and do that for us just now. Okay, there seem to be a few. That's fine. So let's have a wee look and I'll read these out. Again, sorry if I've never given you enough time. It's literally been the length of time I've been recording this video. So, the very first one comes in. Let's have a wee check. And it comes from... Cameron. So this one comes from Cameron Robb. Take any of them, but only as a last resort if you can't get players like Jack, etc. Fair enough. If we can't get anyone else, and we're literally the last day of the transfer window and we're like, we've not got anybody, maybe take some of them. Alright, I agree with that. This one comes from Graham Harvey, and he actually sent me a really, really good tweet, so I'm going to read that one out in just a minute as well. But Graham Harvey wrote in, he's at the Mr. G, with an extra E as the D. My argument has always been, see if we were winning and beating Celtic, would they be forgiven then? I think not, so no thanks. And that's a tremendous point. He also sent me another one, and that I'll read out in just a second. Graham, thanks for sending that in. If we were pummeling them, or we were challenging, or we were just slipped away and Celtic just won the league, we wouldn't be looking at these fucking cunts. We wouldn't be, because we know what they've done to us. They said we didn't exist. They called us Sevco. They walked away. Blah blah blah. And now, because we're struggling, we're kind of we're feeling sorry for ourselves. It's like when you crawl back to your ex and you text her, even though she's like a 6 out of 10 at best, you're like, a wee bit lonely now. You know what I mean? We didn't need to go back and blow our wage budget on someone who's done, who's at the end of their career. And I love Naismith. I don't know if that's came through in a video. If you've not watched any of my other videos, like especially like some of my earlier ones, I talked about Naismith all the time. I absolutely loved him. But he's not. But I'm done. I'm done with him playing for Rangers. I always wanted him to do well for Scotland. I always wanted him to do well for Everton, especially because they're blue. And also really wanted him to do well for Norwich. But I don't want him back at the club. And I think that's fair enough to say. I'm going to read out Graham's other quote, and then I'm going to read out some of the other ones as well. Because he sent me another tweet that I actually retweeted. So let me just check what this one is, wherever it is. So Graham also wrote in, because I was getting a bit of flack, because a lot of people were saying, no, we'd sign him, he's better than what we've got. And Graham wrote in, it's alright, but all is forgiven because we are shite, and he's better than what we have. Logic of some Rangers fans baffle me. That's just kind of what I was saying. Because we're struggling just now, everyone's like, bring back them. They were good 10 years ago. They were good in 2012. Bring them back. No, they're done. Invest in people that want to play, who's hungry to play for us, and who wants to prove themselves to be better than what we actually have. Not someone that's on the decline. We need someone who's on the up. So moving on to Callum Grant at 17. I take Naismith, love him, before he left, but what happened was a shame, but they were playing. That's always left, and that's fair enough. Again, I'm not here to judge. If you want him to come back, that's great. And again, if you're watching a YouTube video, don't be like, oh, I didn't want to annoy Craig or anything like that. Feel free to tell me I'm a dick. Louis MCI, I would take them back in a heartbeat, better than who we have, and have shown that they want to come back. Again, I disagree, but that's fair enough. Cam Grant also written, and we're shite, so we'll take anyone except over Wagcon, I think he means. Archie Archie McMinn, thanks for sending us an Archie. I've never recognised you, so must be a new subscriber. I think we should because they know Scottish way of football and they are successful at it. So okay, fair enough. They were 5 years ago. Matt Brenner at Matt Brenner 85. Is there no one else your lot could sign that could be a real hate figure for us? Barton had all the potential, but sad ending. Didn't he talk about it? But I'm still not over Barton. I really am there. So let's see. I also wrote out to Snags, who runs the We Welcome the Chase podcast, who I know a lot of you guys follow on Twitter and everything like that. He's got lots of followers. He also runs a podcast that I'm in, the We Welcome the Chase podcast, so make sure to go and check that out. I'll link it in the description. He's wrote me an official quote, and this is going to be a lot better than what I've said. Okay, so this is his quote. I've not read it or anything like that, so it's going to be me. He's probably going to be telling me I'm completely wrong, and he's going to be disagreeing with me. So let's have a little read. Let's put it this way, it's been 5 years since that famous two sat in front of the press discussing all things Sevco. They've had statements prepared by their agents at that time, a guy with whom they trusted with their destiny. At the time, nobody really knew what would be left of our great club, fair. And these guys thought they were doing what was right by the club and the fans. The statement was amateur at best and likely didn't reflect the exact situation they were faced with, which was either go or be punished, which is fair. I completely understand what you're saying with that. Anyways, the key element of this is I would take a player back who would add quality to the squad and who is willing to take a 35 grand a week pay cut for the privilege. Aye, there are those who call him a traitor, but for me, he was protecting his livelihood but may not have approached it in an honourable way. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Get him back. Always scored quality goals against Celtic, and he's only 30. So that is coming from Snags. Again, that's just showing you we're not overly balanced or aimed at one side. I disagree with him. He disagrees with me. But there's two different points there. And again, you don't need to pick a side. It's fun little discussion video for you Rangers fans, or even any of you football fans, Celtic fans, whatever you guys, Aberdeen, Hearts fans. I know I've got a lot of these on the channel. It shows me analytics and all that cool stuff. So what do you guys think? Should we take them back, or should we move forward for a younger lot? I have been CJ Novo 92. Thank you for watching. I've dropped my fucking Haribos. You try and hit them with a dynamite outro. I'm not going to cut this out either. It's just not going well, lads. It really isn't it? Again, thanks for all the new subscribers. We're almost at 5.5k, which is tremendous. So if you're watching this video, make sure to subscribe and hit some like button. Thank you for watching. And bye-bye.